Hello everyone and welcome to the next Pro Noob, and today we're going to have a Team Darkside. Okay, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Great.
Sorry, I thought you'd prefer if we speedrun this.
How long have you been thinking about that?
I've been waiting to do that all day. You have no idea. I've just been sat practicing, trying to get my...
You practiced that, huh? That was really good, man. Original intro.
You post the quest timer in the chat, please.
I bet no one has ever made a speedrun joke with you around. Ever. I bet you've never had that.
Not this one, never before. This is the first time I've ever heard this. Really well done. But to be fair, I'm not often in podcasts, so that could be why too.
It's okay. We're not often doing one either.
Yeah, to be fair, we're not often hosting
brand
one either,
new.
so really it's all good. But yes, everyone, welcome to the next little chat, I guess that's what we'll call it. And today's special guest is Chris from Team Darkside, or I guess the master of Team Darkside.
I'm the master of the YouTube algorithm in Team Darkside. The rest, my boys are handling it really well.
Prestigious job.
Yeah, Chris and his boys. But yeah,
boys.
For the people that have been spending 7 years living in a monastery disconnected from the internet, who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so my name is Chris. I am a Monster Hunter YouTuber for a very long time. Oh gosh, yeah.
Don't say that.
Too long.
No, it's great. It's great now with Wilds. We're all hyped. We're all excited. I can't wait to make videos for our subscribers, and yeah, I can't wait to play a new Monster Hunter game. World was great, but Wilds is looking promising so far. So yeah,
it's quite reserved. Promising.
Yeah, we make a lot of speedruns usually on the channel. We make different content actually, not just speedruns. We make also funny compilations. Vice does them, and our team is great at that. We make special kind of videos where we use certain technology that I don't talk about any more than that.
See, now I'm really curious. You can't say we use technology. Secret technology.
We don't want any companies to be mad at us.
If your eyes start glowing, I'm going to be very concerned.
I believe you guys know what I mean. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, special stuff. But we upload so rarely. You guys are like, man.
Yeah, it's very opposite.
We've always thought that. Yeah. We've always felt. Well, I felt jealous that you have the time to really produce and think about something and orchestrate something, bring certain people together, bigger groups. It is really cool to see. Whereas we're just like every day, the three of us, doing so much. It's two sides of the coin, but it's nice to have very different formats or approaches to the same kind of topic, I guess.
No, it's cool to see you as being so integrated in the Rage Gaming team, right? Because I feel like a few years ago, I haven't seen you around as much. Is that correct?
Well, basically, me and Josh started together, and I was doing my own separate thing. He was doing Rage Gaming, and then eventually, over eons that we've been doing this, we started work together. And so now there's the three of us, as well as we have an editor and our channel artist. So it's become quite a little team.
So it's the three of you and another editor, so 4, and then the artist 5.
Yes, that's right.
Pretty good. And you guys are all doing it full time? All 5 of you?
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's super cool.
Yeah,
we were never able to do 5 people full time. That's
it's difficult.
Impressive.
How many? You must have a fair few speedrunners though, right? There's...
Yeah, but most of them are doing just as a hobby. I mean, that's a great thing for the boys in my team that for them it's very chill. It's not like a job for them. I mean, yes, of course, being in a team like this, it is some kind of a responsibility on one hand side, but there's not really any pressure from us to make a certain amount of videos or to just be present all the time. I mean, some of them are just taking breaks for half a year here and there. Literally, they're gone for 6 months. Then they're back, be like, hey, yeah, I'm more motivated these days again to play. And then they're playing more again, and then they're gone maybe again, So it's very chill for them. And the fact that I'm kind of always around at least gives them this freedom, which is really cool. So at the end of the day, there's still at least me and a few are still always there that can
Consistency,
upload
yeah.
something. But yeah, Vicery did full-time TDS for quite a while during the World hype and Iceborne hype, I should say. Because he uploaded so many gone wrong videos. That was fantastic. He did a fantastic job, and he was able to do that also full time for a while. But just recently, he's transitioned more into streaming and doing his personal things. He's still in the team, but like at the moment, I'm the only one who does it full time. Yeah. But enough about me. We're gonna talk about Wilds, right? That's why we're here today.
It's nice to just that new Monster Hunter game. But it's nice to just chat. I just love the idea of you don't see someone for 6 months and then they come back like, I'm ready to hunt.
I'll be here every day for the next 6 months.
And the juxtaposition of it, like, it's nice and chill, there's no pressure, but then the actual hunt is the most like perfect, high pressure, time sensitive, obviously by its nature being a speedrun.
That's not easy, of course, and like it's really healthy for you, like, because many people are like that. If they play a video game, they are in one time they're really hyped about it and they play a lot, and then it comes a time where you're feeling like a little bit like I'm not feeling it right, I'm not vibing with the game, so they just they put it aside for a while, and then like a year or 6 months later they're like, oh my god, I'm having this itch again. I believe you guys know what I'm talking about, right? And you come back way more motivated than how you left the game before, which is fantastic. This is a luxury that most like the three of us don't have.
There's no
there's no stop.
I understand the words you're saying, but past that,
it's like the
dream
between
for us.
It's like it's the difference between motivation and discipline, and we have to be disciplined the whole time.
I think that's a great way of putting it.
Very
but
different.
yes, you are right. Wilds, obviously. So you were at Gamescom. How many days were you there for?
At Gamescom, 2 full days.
Okay.
Privilege.
Yeah. Which was perfect. It was enough. We were there just for Monster Hunter, so
same essentially. Like until Wilds was going to be there was no way we were going to Gamescom.
What do you mean we? You didn't go.
Okay.
You didn't go.
It's an entity. As a chat.
The Rage gaming entity.
If Hollow is there, I'm there. You know, it's
in
it's
spirit. He's in my phone constantly asking me what's going on, so he's there.
Just 17 messages. Find Ryozo, find Ryozo, find Ryozo.
I cornered him eventually, which was good. So we were there for just the afternoon or one session, really, the one day. So my time with the game was about 90 minutes. So we had the 60 minutes, no recording prep, and then we had the 30 minutes of recording. And for me, that was 5 minutes learning the game, and then 30 seconds, and it was over. You know, it was over in a second. But you got to do a live stream, right, as well as do the recording session, right? So how long do you think you got to play?
A lot more. I think close to 4 hours if you count.
Okay, even more than Rui. Right?
Yeah, because we've had some tech issues on day one, so we got to record again, and there were a lot of issues, and then of course I was on the stage. There was on the stage I was 2 times.
Yep.
So because of that, I could play on the stage, which was, of course, I couldn't capture any of it. It was just playing a little bit, and then the stream as well, 45 minutes. Which was, I'm very happy that I could do the stream because my captured footage didn't work out. It worked out for Michi. He recorded some great sword gameplay, but it didn't work out for me with my CB. I had no captured CB footage at all because my recording corrupted.
It's funny you should say that.
Oh, that's insane. So I cut mine into 3 parts, and
we
I
lost like half our footage.
Oh no! If you need some greatsword footage, let us know. We can...
I'll have it for personal use at a minimum.
We'd love to see it. Obviously, we'd love to see it, but we're like so at that line. We can't show any more now of like the event.
You have already shown 20 minutes.
There's no way we can show more. So
so unfortunate.
It'd be so cool to just let everything out there.
Yeah.
But we'd love to see, obviously, anything you've learned. Obviously, I've got a lot of questions in general. I was able to play dual blades, bow, and a bit of greatsword because Josh just like legally required me, like, you know,
the greatsword.
Even though I don't really play it.
He can make the videos about it.
Yes, of course. He gave me a bullet point list of everything that I need to try to see and try to do. So I did my best with it, but 30 minutes was not enough, and then I ended up with like 18 minutes of footage in the end. So the fact that you lost it, but at least you had someone.
I'm not sure about the creators from the US because I've seen them upload longer than 20 minutes. So I'm really curious what's going on there and if they have a different embargo than us.
Perhaps.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
I mean, we've always felt with these, like, you can only show X amount of time at any event. Obviously, this was pretty unique, but other companies are doing it. It's become very common now to like set limits like that. We don't like them. They don't feel good in any way. They don't really make much sense. But you know, if that's what they're asking, that's what they're asking. But I think there's plenty of people that are going to push it.
So. Before we get on to the real hard-hitting topics, I do need to know the answer to this question. Why and when did you decide to rebrand to Large Dung Pod?
I saw that as well.
Yeah. That was so funny. It was actually, this is not my... Yeah, this wasn't my joke. It was just, I saw that in the chat and live stream, on the live stream, I think. Some guy pointed it out, and it was just a perfect placement of the camera over the user interface. And yeah, it was perfect. I was sitting on the far left of the camera. She was sitting on the right, and it's just directly below us. It said Mega Potion below her, and everything else was cut off. So you didn't see the icon of the item anymore. You just saw
the text,
just the text, and then above us. So obviously. Yeah, it was so funny.
My favorite hunter, Large Dung Pod.
It's okay. You're very useful in Wilds, it would seem.
Yeah, exactly. It's a key thing. So obviously you've played the game a little bit. You've been at the show. It's early, but I'm going to ask you to make the call. Do you think Monster Hunter Wilds will be the best Monster Hunter game ever? If you had to make that prediction right now.
I do think gameplay-wise, yes. I think so. Yeah. Gameplay-wise, absolutely. In terms of graphics, I'm like, it looks to me like World-ish. It doesn't really look to me much next-gen compared to World, but World looked great already, so it still looks good. It just doesn't really look to me like a game that is coming out 7 years later. Because if you think about it, it's 7 years in between. And it's not just that, it's like a whole console generation in between. We had PS4 versus PS5, which is a huge jump in performance too. So graphically, I don't really see that personally, but in terms of, like having the bigger areas now, gameplay feels amazing. I can't wait to see more monsters coming out. Even though I'm a little bit like, not too sure on the graphics side. I have to say some things looked really good, especially something I haven't even talked about yet in the podcast before is that I'm very happy I can say that here now with you guys. The Rey Dau, I really like the attacks. When I played it, of course I saw it in like the best resolution possible because it was running in front of my eyes on the PlayStation and not in like a compressed YouTube video. So it looked what looked really cool were all these electricity attacks and the sound. This really felt amazing, and it's just the very first kind of Elder Dragon, or I don't know, is it an Elder Dragon? Yeah, right?
Flying wyvern.
It's not even an Elder Dragon.
Yeah, I know, right? So, like, imagine what the Elder Dragons are going to be.
Exactly. So I can't wait for all those crazy new monsters that they're going to show in the future. So yeah,
I can definitely appreciate, having played it as well, what you're saying about the graphic fidelity feeling very comparable to World. I feel like World was this insane leap forward, and it's not doesn't feel like as ridiculous, but it's definitely still like it fell forward, the little subtle stuff. But I think it's the technology stuff, like say the roaming storm, the fact that it's a physical space that you can move in and out of, things like that. Josh was telling me that with Balahara they've actually got that kind of separated body, the technology working for a Leviathan like that, and the way that it would rope around terrain as well as other monsters. That to me feels like what the big step forward is, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so cool that they're finally going more into this direction of the changing environments. And the Capcom was really great at like slowly but surely introducing new things. You've seen the Palamutes and with the last Rise, right? And now we have the mounts improved even more. So Capcom is just, they don't like jump way too fast into new features. They're just trying to slowly improve them over time, and they're really good at that. So that's what you're saying. Like, it's not just the graphics, like visually per se, but the mechanics of it. The mechanics, yeah, absolutely.
And I think there's just a lot of attention to detail. Like, animation quality, there's so many subtle little redos of the weapons, of how they move, and the monsters, and just the fluidity of everything. It feels like there's been like a little animation almost overhaul. Like, it just looks so clean compared to even World if you put them side by side in clips, which I think is really awesome to see.
The animations kind of connect better in a way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It feels a lot more flowy, which even World and Iceborne didn't quite capture as much.
Because every move, you have to imagine, like, every move has its own animation, right? And because of the way many combos for many weapons work, you can chain different attacks in a row into each other. So that's, I think, like, really hard for developers to figure out, so that no matter which animation you're connecting to your current animation, it flows smoothly into the next one. And I've seen that with CB. I mean, I've seen it with CB and with Longsword, actually, with both weapons that I've played. Yeah, a lot more fluid and smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the greatsword being able to rotate while charging is a great example, because it would have been really easy to make that look a little bit weird, because obviously you're holding it still and then you just rotate like you're on a
rotating on the spot.
But that's how every game does it. Every game, literally.
Yeah, but it looks really good. And like something like the clashes, if you want an example of animation, like they're just absolutely insane.
Yeah. True.
Yes. I would say that in regards to the monsters as well, there's like some sort of stuff. Like, there was this clip that I have where I start running up and attacking a sleeping monster, and you can see its body like waving around. It's like reacting. It's like flubber or something. I am interested to see how that works with all the different weapons. In terms of animations, I have actually seen some clipping, but obviously we're playing some. It was like an early build. Obviously, we're well beyond what we should expect to see in the full game, but they are obviously trying. So it's nice to see. But a big topic that I wanted to talk to you about is in terms of the rebalancing of weapons. You know, they've taken away certain combos or folded in new moves from Rise, rather than it feeling. The big thing for me, especially with Sunbreak, was it became quite gamey. The big topic of like, everyone's running a counter, so every monster's designed with counters in mind, you know, that kind of thing. They've obviously brought some forward. We're seeing the offset kind of attacks with a bunch of different weapons.
You guys know that for sure. Do all the weapons now have counters in Wilds?
No.
Not everyone.
No, definitely not.
I think half of them ish do.
Okay. No, it was Sunbreak where we saw like everyone having some kind of counter, and then in this we've seen some brought forward. But say Dual Blade's the one that I play. We literally had a counter button, and now we have just like a perfect evade, which feels a lot more logical for that weapon, but also not quite as, don't worry about it. If it throws anything at me, I've got this like half second of timing where as long as I just throw it out, anything it throws, I'm just immune. So something we're talking with Ruri is it feels a lot more grounded and a lot less iframey all the time.
Yeah, it's much less arcadey, because it's back to World and Iceborne style. I mean, what do you think of Wild's Charge Blade, given that's your baby?
Oh, it's amazing. It's so cool. I'm really looking forward to both the new additions of the Power Axe, well, Savage Axe / it activates Power Axe, where you only have half file consumption for AEDs and for the AED follow-up, which are both going to be really frequently used moves for the Charge Blade. So not only consuming half a file there, if you stack the files, it looks like you don't consume any file there. So that is, I'm really curious. Yeah, like the potential that we have there to make cool speedruns and stuff, to make stylish looking, entertaining looking gameplay for everyone. If you imagine, you just don't lose any file. Like, it's crazy. You can just swing and swing and swing. When do we have to go back and morph back into Sword and Shield mode to charge the files again? I can't wait to test that, because sadly I wasn't able to test that stacked file feature while I was playing. I found out afterwards, and it was already too late. So that's what I'm most excited about with CB, and I love the fact, well, maybe not love, but I like the fact so far that they are restricting the use of the Yes AED. Because if you think about it, it's a very kind of brain-dead way of playing CB.
That's what most people just do, is SAD, just over and over on loop.
Which it's fun if you're using it on like a sleeping monster and whatnot, and it's also fun to use it in general. But I guess after a while, I guess this playstyle does become, at least to me, a little bit more boring. So I like the fact that now you are actually using an AED. And let's be honest, I always found this was a very, very complicated way in the past with Charge Blade to implement an SAD, or let's implement an AED, because you had to use triangle and circle. And then it went into this, super attack, and then you needed to hold backwards to cancel into an AED. Isn't that the most complicated way ever?
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to say, because obviously you're a Charge Blade man. Where do you sit on the, the meme that Charge Blade needs like a PhD? It's the most complicated weapon. No one can play it. Like, where do you think?
That's what it is, what I just mentioned. I mean, in the past, for me, it was completely fine. Like, I was so used to it. I don't mind holding backwards. It's fine. It works out. But, like, if you're new to this, explain it to somebody who's starting out with the game. No way. No, I'll tell them to start with Greatsword or maybe Longsword or Dual Blades instead. No. Wait. I think Greatsword is fantastic to get into the game, but it has a high skill ceiling. Absolutely, Rage. So I'm not, like... You're amazing with Greatsword. And, of course, the experience.
I'm all right.
The experience shows with Greatsword. I mean, you see great players like Ares, and you see they're insane. Because why?
Awesome
Greatsword
stuff.
So but for getting into the weapons, CB is definitely very difficult, and I think this change that triangle and circle now always gives an AED, unless you cancel it into charging the shield. That's, I think, great. Makes it more simple, makes it more straightforward. And I think, in general, with Longsword 2, the changes that I've seen, it seems more straightforward. I don't know if you are familiar with Longsword, but we've always had the circle would give you the thrust attack with this Longsword if you press circle. Before, in World, it was integrated into your normal triangle combo. And then, even though you press triangle, you were using the thrust attack, even though a thrust attack is literally actually a button press with circle. Now that's completely separate. And I think that makes it more clean, more easy to understand. So I that's what it seems to me. With the two weapons that I've tried, everything seems like they try to make it more clean.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask.
Go on.
That's what I wanted to ask in regards to the whole, like, SED not being like the only way that you're going to loop your weapon per se, and then you got longsword, you got helm splitter into counterattack, and then you got helm splinter into counterattack, and that being the primary loop of the weapon for a long while now. Do you think we're taking a step away from, like, okay, here's your big move, and here's how you get to the big move as fast as possible, and that repeating?
Fantastic question.
I was about to ask.
Fantastic question.
Spam over.
Yeah, because honestly, Longsword gameplay in Rise to me felt so much more boring than in Iceborne before. So at the beginning, I was a bit worried, because now they have taken those changes from Rise and implemented them in Wilds, where if you mess up the Eye Spirit Slash, you don't lose your gauge anymore. If you hit the Eye Spirit Slash correctly, you can actually level up your gauge. So this, at first glance, I was like, oh, wait a minute, are we going to see the same gameplay? But no, we have this new finisher, right? It's called Spirit Release Slash, and you do this finisher after your Helmbreaker. So for me, it looks like you can only use it after the Helmbreaker. So you use Helmbreaker, you go down to yellow, then you use Spirit Release Slash, you go down to white. And the Spirit Release Slash does massive damage. I've seen it does like almost twice the damage of a Helmbreaker, 1.8x. And which looks pretty promising, and then you're back to white. So now you'll have to ask yourself, how do you get back from white to red? These are two gauges you have to now get back to, right? And like now we have the new Focus Strike attack with Longsword, which, if case you guys have seen it, if you hit two wounds, if you had 2 wounds, you can instantly level up to 2 gauges. So maybe it's like now what I hope it will be a situation depending situation where when you have wounds that you can exploit, maybe you use a Focus Strike and you get back to red, but maybe you don't. Maybe the monster is about to attack you, so maybe you use a Eye Spirit Slash, or you don't have time for that, so you use a Foresight Whirl Slash, or no, actually it's a Foresight Slash. So so there are different options. We'll have to see, of course, when the demo comes out. I guess that's when we'll first see how speedrunners are going to make use of the new changes. But I don't think it'll boil down to the more boring longsword gameplay in
Well, I hope
runs.
so. I want to see like the spirit combo that's worth using. You know, you have that new like hold the R2 and you hold it above, and then you can instantly level up with one single hit. That's crazy. But at the same time, I want that to be done intentionally rather than like, oh, well, you just use that every time because you just get to level 3 as fast as possible. Like nothing else matters.
True. That's another way of leveling up the gauge. So there are a lot of different ways. So hopefully they manage to implement it so not one of them is way better than the other.
That's my concern.
Yeah, when it comes to the thing being better than the other weapon, that's something I'm worried about with Greatsword. Because obviously there's the new offset attack where you charge the uppercut, and if you time it with the monster, it falls over, and then you run in and do the slam, and that's all well and good. But obviously that's not going to out-damage true charging on repeat. And now, because you can shoulder tackle and then go into an instant true charge if you shoulder tackle an attack, why would you not just do that instead of the offset attack, like always?
Yes, and one of them is also significantly easier to land. The shoulder charge.
Yeah.
The offset requires like the weapon has to be flying. The monster attack has to be flying. They collide. You know, bash is just like, and here it comes, bash. You know,
so I really want like to see the motion values and the actual damage, because it feels like there's no real reason to offset if it's harder to land and does less damage, or when you could just be repeatedly shoulder tackling into true.
But it looks cool.
It does look cool,
yeah, and maybe see it the game we've just played for a very short amount of time, so you're saying it's very hard to land. That's what I mean by skill ceiling, right? So let's say you're actually able to handle this really well and pull it off consistently. That's a very stylish way of dealing good damage with the greatsword for skilled players.
Definitely. It just needs to be the juice needs to be worth the squeeze with it is the main thing. But it's obviously hard to tell when we don't have sets, we don't have skills.
Maybe you just have to practice a lot of squeezing in order to get a lot of juice.
That's what I always say. Whenever anyone asks me how to learn
says.
the greatsword, my first question is, how's your grip strength? And then they back away from me, and that's really sad.
Yeah. So weird you weren't at Gamescom because they didn't let you in.
That's actually why I wasn't there. I have too many restraining orders for people in the building, so...
Yeah. Okay, so... in regards to moveset changes and builder spenders, so you played Longsword and Charge Blade. Had you had time to watch many other weapons?
Not too many.
Nope.
I'm gonna get into that soon, but like a lot of good players haven't gotten their hands on these weapons yet.
Even the people that you wish could have been there just to be like, yeah, break down the weapon for me. They then have no one had like long enough to really do that. And as Josh just said, there's no skills or like we're just given these armor sets, whatever. We don't know what new things they might have added to change. Say with my perfect evade timing, with the little buff you get after with dual blades where you get to attack and evade at the same time, is there a skill going to be tied to that in a gem or something? We don't know. So obviously everything we're looking at in terms of DPS and the value of using these moves, we don't know the reality of it yet. So we have to keep it with a grain of salt.
One thing that I've looked into, which I'm not sure, maybe you guys know, is the wake up hit multiplier. I've seen some gameplay, including my own, where the wake up hit clearly did not receive a 2 times multiplier.
Interesting. No, I didn't think about that.
Interesting, yeah, that is.
And some other clips we've seen they clearly did. So I'm really confused at the moment.
Maybe inconsistency with the build copium, but they could have rebalance that. I've not actually seen anyone talk about that. I've not heard
during my
that.
stream, there's a clip where I wanted to SAED, wake up the monster. I completely forgot you cannot do SAED right off the bat. So it did an AED. I whiffed because I was too far away because the SAED has a
but
longer
then it was
range.
all intentional, yeah.
But it was all fine because then after the AED, I could combo into SAED. So it all worked out at the end, and I hit with the SAED. I hit perfectly on the head. Monster woke up, but the damage was literally the same as a hit on a normal SAED.
That's so strange.
Awake.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Maybe they've retuned it somehow. But that wouldn't make sense, because I mean that's been iconic throughout all of Monster Hunter. You just do double damage when you wake up a monster.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I could imagine it if like, oh yeah, we want to rebalance it. They've got sneak attacks now for everyone with the ghillies and that. But then, some weapons are better at waking up than others. And what if you're not using that weapon? So you just use barrel bomb. I wonder if they've done some rebalancing with that in mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I look forward to you inevitably one-shotting a monster with 4 sneak attacks before it's even actually seen.
That's the goal, yeah. That's the goal. That's my primary build.
But, well, that's an assumption, right? That a sneak attack is in the game. We don't know.
No, we do. We've seen. You walk up behind a monster. If it's not seen you or you're in ghillie, it literally pops up with sneak attack, press button, and you'll do a special sneak attack, and it's like
everyone
a
has
backstab.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen. Oh, I haven't even seen that. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like a special
there's a few in the
surprise
weapon
attack on a monster.
So it's like an actual like a separate animation.
Yeah. Every weapon has a unique sneak attack.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're not sure. That's the thing. It's the constant, like, is it worth using? You know, because you lose the time to sort of put a ghillie on walk over. But in terms of mantles coming back, we only know about the ghillie. I don't know if you've seen or heard anything about others.
I kind of. I wouldn't be sad if it was just the ghillie. Like I'm kind of neutral on mantles. I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I doubt they would put in just the ghillie.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's the thing.
I would be surprised if it's not, but. So what do you?
We're not sure.
So
I
assume
mantle.
you had a go at Rey Dau.
Yeah. Yes. Where my gameplay corrupted.
How did he treat you? Yeah. How did he?
I
see. That's interesting because Hollow had a go at Rey Dau.
That is exactly
and he
where
lost his gameplay on Rey Dau. You've had a go at Rey Dau and you've lost your Rey Dau. I think you both just got destroyed and didn't want anyone to know about it.
I'm gonna give you guys a very boring answer to this. Okay. It was the fault of the SD cards formation.
Yeah. How did he treat you though? How did you find actually fighting him?
So I already touched on the visuals. I think it looks and sounds amazing, and some of the moves were so cool, where it attacks you with the wings and it's kind of like scratching the floor with the wings and like bam,
it's incredible,
really cool. But I felt like it wasn't so difficult to fight actually. Of course, I was using very counter heavy weapons, so it was a bit tricky to know exactly when to use foresight / or guard points. But other than that, it didn't seem too difficult. So, yeah, it's just that I wish I could have shared my gameplay there, but yeah. Looks cool.
I'm surprised no one went out their way to deliberately try and kill him, or at least get him to limp. But as far as I've seen, no one's actually.
They tried.
Him.
Many have tried it.
Yeah, okay.
No. So many have tried, and what I've seen. Have you guys not seen it? There was a clip. I think somebody on stage, like a German team, managed to take them down.
Oh, wow, really? Okay. Because I've been trying to find if anyone actually killed Rey Dau.
Yeah.
I was struggling to find it. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. But many tried. I know that many tried.
Yeah, because so far everyone just seems to be getting destroyed by him, like just carting on the feet.
For me, in my experience, I was there with 30 minutes to get many, many different clips. By the time that I got to Rey Dau, there was like 10 minutes left in the hunt.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's possible, but I've got so much going on that
in 10 minutes?
Well, it's possible. Is it going to happen? Is a different story.
Super difficult. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people with 30 minutes to play, it's not enough time when they're trying to get all the footage. If you were just there to kill Rey, I'm sure we would have seen that. But I think everyone was there with a lot of different objectives, a lot of different stuff they wanted to record.
Yeah, and I feel like the interest in Monster Hunter, the series, is a lot higher from media and creators. Everyone has seen the big success with World, so kind of a lot of people want to jump on the hype train. Yeah. And the interest is so much bigger compared to Iceborne, I feel like, when I went to Gamescom back then. So maybe that's why we didn't have as much time to record, which I understand as well.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. How was the vibe of Gamescom compared to the Iceborne one? Because obviously we weren't there for the Iceborne one, but everything we saw of Wilds, it was ridiculous, like a 6-hour queue to play. So was it that much busier than Iceborne?
Everything was a lot smaller. The booth was smaller. Less people wanted to play. There were less options for creators to record. Like not as many PlayStation set up for creators and media. It was just like different community managers back then. It was so different, and before COVID too.
Oh my god, yeah. Of course. I always blank that's the thing that happened. That's just ridiculous.
I got sick after Iceborne 2019 Gamescom, and that's why one of my biggest goals this year was not to get sick.
Oh, you have found your kindred spirit here. Look at
Why?
Hollo's biggest like concern going to it was, I cannot get sick. I will not get sick. I'm not going near the crowds.
Conventions.
Yeah.
Every time I've been in a big crowd for any event, gig, anything, we went to the Manchester Major for Rainbow Six Siege, and like most people who went to that got COVID or something like that.
Oh,
and it's just like I was horrified that would happen again.
Yeah. Same here, and I wore a mask, so everything was fine at the end. But I was the only dude running around there with a mask, and was looking at me strange. Like,
that's just to keep up the mystery of Team Darkside, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I should have put on the sunglasses too, man.
Yeah, you should have done. You should have gone full all in on it.
Yeah.
That
was great.
So, what's your favorite new monster?
I love
and why is it?
Because it's
why
just
is it
such a
Lala
victim.
Barina? Yeah, actually, I am totally with you there. Every time Chatacabra showed up in the weapon trailers, just getting annihilated to be a target dummy, it just broke my heart. I think he's so good.
So sad.
Yeah,
It reminds me of Dodo, everyone loving Dodo, but...
Yeah. Dodo's a lot harder, though, I feel like.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know. They're all starter monsters, aren't they? So
there are. Chatacabra is great to test out weapons if you're getting into the game. I love Reptile.
That's so mean. You're not wrong, but it's so mean. Yeah. He's
It's
just
the
a
great
big old
Chagras.
target dummy. They're not going to put a training room in Wilds. It's just going to be a little circle with a Chatacabra in the middle.
There will be, I think, there will be a training area again.
There will.
of course.
No, I love reptile kind of monsters. I love
same. They're my favorite.
Yeah, reptiles. You got a snake. I love dinosaurs too. So I love like Glavenus and these kind of monsters. Or
that's my favorite for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't have a brute yet in the Wilds. I mean, the variety instantly is ridiculous. Like the 5 monsters we have in Wilds so far are already like more variety than all of World, I think, in terms of just differences between them.
How different
we've got Leviathan, we've got the spider, we've got Chatacabra and amphibian already, so it's like the potential. And as we touched on earlier, we don't even know what the big boys are going to be like. The Elder Dragons, what's the flagship going to be? Why don't we know the flagship, Chris?
Oh yeah, maybe a Tokyo Game Show. We'll see.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
What I want to ask you is, because a year ago I made a video 5 Elder Dragons that will never return. I was like, I put Jen Moran in this because I was like, this guy is never coming back. And then the first thing we see in the trailer is literally a sand
it's
ship.
just Jen Moran arena,
bro. So, but wait, not Jen Moran, right? It's the sand ship though. It's like awfully close.
Yeah. It just looks like it.
Do you guys think Jen Moran is coming back because of the sand ship?
It's the environment for it.
I don't think so. I think I just get the feeling they're kind of shying away from the bigger sort of siege fights, because obviously we got none of them in Rise and Sunbreak. World and Iceborne had a few, but I feel like if we're going to get a big spectacle siege fight like Jen, it's going to be a new monster over a returning Jen.
Yeah. No.
They're my least favorite fights in the series.
Really? You didn't like Safi
all of them?
either? Safi was awesome.
I mean, look, some of them are better than others. Some of them are all right, but it's always for me. I always just like put me in against a monster. I like fighting a monster, and I don't like let me fight the left toe and put ammo into this cannon. They're fun during the story, but yeah, the big patches where you've got a siege fight, I'm just not as much into.
Did you ever try Lao Shan in the old games?
I've watched it. I've not played it.
I did.
Yeah,
Lao Shan is
way worse.
I imagine
you should have seen
how
how
you don't. I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. That's understandable.
Lao Shan doesn't even
fun.
acknowledge you. He doesn't look at you. He doesn't attack you.
It's not
he just
a monster
walks in a
fight.
straight
It's
line
not a
while you
monster fight.
furiously stab
He's
him.
fighting a gate or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I'm not into as much. But yeah, I appreciate that they're spectacle and they're fun during the story. For sure. I'm sure it'll happen again, especially in these massive environments. There's no way they could do something absolutely massive in those maps. So
yeah,
maybe they do want to do something new.
Yeah,
I'm
the
really
maps are
hoping
big
for
enough.
these. Oh yeah, I'm really hoping for these 8-player, 16-player quests that we've seen in like the Monster Hunter Online.
Yeah.
I think maybe Frontier 2. I'm not sure you guys have played more.
Yeah. There's some much bigger scope stuff.
I think honestly, right now would be a great time. With PS5s, I'm sure PS5 could handle this.
Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna get 16-player lobbies again?
I think so. Yeah. Why would they go down to 4 now?
Yeah, no, yeah, but like obviously it's open, right? So village to hunt. So is there just gonna be 16
right.
people running around the whole map?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's
we
what
don't
I'm
have
saying.
the lobbies anymore.
Yeah,
True.
exactly. So is there just gonna be 16 people on a map, or all doing their own hunts, but you can see each other? So how's it gonna work?
I feel like they would have made a big deal of that
That's
by
what I'm
now.
thinking.
Because I don't think so, because then that would imply that you can do any kind of quest as a group of 16.
Yeah,
so you
that's
just gang
why-
up on a
that's why-
chatacabra with 16 people.
Yeah,
No, you hate chatacabra. That's what I'm learning.
You already
your
gets destroyed
face
in solo.
lit up at the prospect of 16
idea
people
of 16.
versus one chatacabra. But yeah,
Imagine.
that's why I think it's such an interesting question, because you can't have a 16-person lobby without letting 16 people on the same map. And if you have
Yep.
16 people on the same map, you can hunt the same monster with
A little
16
bit
people.
broken.
So I feel like we're going to be back down to 4.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Thinking about it that way.
True. Yeah, probably right.
And I guess that would mean when you do the SOS for the NPCs, it would have been like 13 of them arriving to answer the call.
Yeah.
Instead of just the extra 3.
The ball. Yeah.
There's a notification on the side. Bling, bling, bling,
Yeah,
bling,
just
bling,
boom,
bling,
boom,
bling,
boom,
bling.
boom, we're here.
Yeah, on the left you've got the hunter spawning in. On the right you've got the skills that are activating. It's going to be great. You're not going to be seeing much gameplay. You're just going to be seeing text on your screen. It's going to be great.
And
Where do
16
you-
Seikrets too. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
just running around. I do wonder what the like effects will be like, because in Rise and Sunbreak, when there's 4 hunters, 4 palamutes, and in fact I think you've talked about this a bit in the past, how there's just so much like visual clutter going on with so many things attacking. I wonder how that will actually play out in a Wilds when you've got a full team just doing all of their big attacks.
Same. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of it in Rise at all. Then we got some settings where we could tone down
Yeah,
some of the crit flashes and
Crits
blood
and
and that
bleeds, yeah.
kind of stuff. I mean, right now, I have to say my multiplayer session did look a little bit chaotic, but it was also because the storm was going on.
Yeah.
So, to be fair, I think we'll find out. But I think what I really like, though, is that they have gone away from what we had in World, where you were hitting the monsters and rocks came out of the wounds.
Yeah.
That was always
Yeah.
strange to me.
Yeah,
So
that
I really
was a
like that
weird
we have
choice.
more. It looks more like blood this
Yeah, I
time
was about to
around.
say blood's back, which is good. And
That's
increased
great.
amounts. Like I saw a clip of, I think it was either a switch axe or a charge blade on mounting a monster, and it's
That
just
was me.
oh
dude.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's you. And it's just like a saw blade of just so
Yeah.
much blood
Your
pouring
hunt
out
is
of
just
it.
red.
Yeah, there you
Clip
go.
went viral. Yeah, there was also the guy who edited this had like props to the music choice was perfect.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good to see. Where do you stand on a few people that I've seen say that Wilds is going to be like too easy? There's too many new quality of life things that they don't want, like the fact that health potions automatically choose the one that's best for your current amount of missing health.
Oh really? Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
totally missed that feature.
Yeah. So if you only got a little, you're only slightly injured, it'll just use a normal potion, and if you're really injured, it'll automatically use a mega potion instead. You don't have to choose.
Does that fill your blood? Does it make
like does
your
that
blood boil?
yeah, does that fill you with rage, or is that like whatever?
So as in, if you literally press square on a mega potion, it doesn't consume that; it consumes a normal potion.
Yeah, you could. There's a setting to enable it, so you just press drink potion, and then it'll do the right one for your how much
correct
health you're
one, yeah.
missing.
We're seeing so many games doing that, right? Didn't Pokemon introduce that in the Scarlet and Violet as well, where you can auto heal them with one button press too? Yeah, it's just now like how gaming kind of is evolving nowadays. I think that's fine. I mean, honestly, of course, there were a lot of early story monsters in the Gamescom version. Naturally, they're not the hardest to fight, and I think that's good because we want new players to come into the series, enjoy the game, and don't get destroyed early on. We've seen people get destroyed by early monsters in Rise at the beginning, and some clubs went viral there. So we don't want that to happen. We want the community to grow, right? So I think that's great, and I'm sure they will have challenging obstacles for us to overcome later down the road.
yeah, I
Look at
think so.
Fatalis, Elatrion, they were all super hard. People complained, made petitions to remove them from the game. Or
Wait,
make them easier,
really?
if you remember. Yeah, don't you have you not seen
either
a
I've
petition to
forgotten
change
or I didn't
Elatrion?
see it. A literal petition to change Elatrion.
Yeah.
That
It
is
was super funny.
yeah, that is so funny. That's
Yeah, so later on we will have the challenges for the veteran players for sure.
yeah.
Of course.
What do you think of the health bar?
Oh my
squiggly-
God.
The
squiggly
dancing
green.
health bar.
So I think I never really talk about this, so nobody really knows. I was a UI designer for 3 years before I did YouTube full time.
All right.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I'm actually like a professional in UI design field. So to me, it's always super interesting to talk about UI.
Give us the lowdown.
I really like that they are making it a little bit more. They're making it more dynamic. I like how the gauge, the red gauge for longsword, has this animation within the bar.
Yeah.
I also do like that they're making it that they're giving more motion to HP and stamina bar, but I can see the criticism from many people where the HP bar just, I feel like, moves a bit too much. I'm not the type of guy who really needs an indicator on the HP bar as well if I need to, roll away or not. I think one of the beautiful things about Monster Hunter is you do not have monster HP bars. You don't see the HP of monsters. You have to pay attention to the monsters. You have to learn about their moves, about their wind-up animations, and then figure out, oh, is that the big of attack that's coming up? Like with Teostra Supernova.
Yeah.
And then if you mess that up, you actually get one shot, and it is... Also, even though you card, it's a fun experience too, because like, oh my god, I died.
It adds threat, yeah.
Yeah, the amount of old school Teostra clips one-shotting a 4-man team and ending the hunt with a supernova.
Yes.
Like, you always want that stuff to be able to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
so yeah, about the stamina bar, I really like the stamina bar is like moving. It's a very subtle animation. I think it looks amazing. But the way the HP bar wiggles, especially on low HP, it's a bit too much, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talking of fantastic UI design, at least in my opinion, the new map, the 3, like, it is so much better than anything
I went
we've
into
had
it
before.
thinking, oh, that's cool, but looking at the mini map and all the icons everywhere and the way that it's like, I was looking forward to finding out how it actually worked, but as soon as I opened up the map and was able to, move it around vertically, seeing like the sand dunes and seeing like the raising of that, or where tunnels are and stuff.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. It's so well done.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was so intuitive right off the bat. I knew how to navigate around. I knew how to set like a motion, a waypoint. So yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah. How does the Seikret actually feel to use? Because obviously I've not personally ridden it. But is it just seamless? Is it not like awkward to call, or it just flows?
I felt like calling. So it is very seamless. It is very well implemented. There's maybe one tiny thing that I could say when I think back about Rise. If you were holding circle, then you remember you were calling the Palamute.
Generate it.
That worked really fast. I feel like that worked faster than it worked for me calling the Seikret in Wilds. When I was pressing also on the D-pad on the left, you have to press to call it, right? Or on the
for
right?
me, it was up on the D-pad, but it doesn't really matter. But you could also call it with right to swap weapon, and that would also bring it over, and you'd mount.
So basically, D-pad brings the Seikret.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always like a little bit less intuitive. So you have to go away from your left joystick where you're maneuvering your hunter around, and you have to maneuver your thumb to the D-pad. Mm-hmm. So I kind of preferred the circle way of calling.
I didn't think about that, but that is true. That is true.
But it's like a tiny thing. It's really just a tiny thing. I do really love how they look like. I love how the animations.
I love dogs, don't get me wrong, but Bird Raptor is so much better for a mount, like infinite. Like it's not even close. It's
the
just
problem
so
with
much
Palamutes
cooler.
is they're so comical, like the drifting. That's gone now.
Drifting,
It's pretty crazy in hindsight.
To be honest, I feel like this drifting, it's funny, but it feels fitting to one of the. Yeah, but it feels to me fitting to one of those mobile Monster Hunter levels.
Yeah, the more arcade.
Not something you want to have in the more serious, like big main platform kind of games. So I really like that they're going more with the reptiles, because I think reptiles work so much better for the Monster Hunter series.
Really do.
Than a dog, really.
Yeah.
Did either of your secrets glide at any point?
Mine didn't. No, and
because
I jumped off stuff.
Because you see it in the trailer, the Secret's gliding and flying, but as far as I can tell, no one's actually had any gliding happen on their Secret.
I assume it's just a button input that nobody really figured out. While you're jumping, probably in the air, you press a button, and we just didn't know because we were so overwhelmed by everything that was going on.
Possibly
that's
so.
fair enough. So I suppose, obviously, your main area expertise speedrunning, even though you, as you've said, don't do it a lot personally these days, because, you know...
These days.
These
not
days.
That much.
Yeah, these days. But you still know a hell of a lot about speedrunning, obviously.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Wilds, obviously in Monster Hunter you can control a lot of the things people don't think you can control, like getting the right monster spawn in its location and so on and so forth. But there is a lot of new, like, randomness in Wilds that can happen. Like the larger maps, the massive herds of monsters, the various environmental stuff, even just lightning strike hitting the monster you're killing or not. I feel like it's never been more complex to try
literally a lightning strike.
Yeah, literally a lightning strike.
Can it get any more random than that?
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's never been more like layers to get a perfect speedrun than it looks like it's going to be in Wilds. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Oh God, for the sake of the sanity of my team members, I really hope lightning strikes will not be part of speedruns.
Yeah.
No
Honestly.
Sandstorms, no weather.
Yeah, it's such a good topic to talk about. So during my stream, the plan was that after I defeated the doshaguma, that we check out what else is going on the map. You know, what other monsters are there. Oh, it's an unknown monster. Let's check that out. Oh, Rey Dau. Interesting, right? That was the plan. Well... the thing just didn't show up during my stream. It didn't show up. It wasn't there. I couldn't even have hunted it a single minute because there was no storm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I went to talk to Vivi. I was like, okay, so what do we do now? Well, we wait for the storm. And what can I do about it? Can I like do something? Can I summon it? No.
Just sit there.
Just wait and hope for it.
So for you, Rey didn't show up unless the storm had activated. Is that what
that's what she said to me.
He comes with the storm. That's when he's active. So if you don't have a storm, you don't have a Rey. He'll stay after the storm if you're actively hunting him.
I've read a lot of experts in the comments, and what they tell me is that the storm is nothing to do with Rey. In fact. So that's interesting that you've had a direct experience, but that's the problem with our like very limited view right now is like, oh, you know, we can assume these things logically, but then the actual experience that you've had is that he couldn't spawn without it.
That's what the CM told me, but to be fair, sometimes the CMs don't really know.
That's also true.
Like
you can't take everything for fact.
So it's so much to know about a new game like that.
But what we do know is that the weather isn't necessarily attached to Rey. Like he can be out of the storm and you can find him out of the storm. But that is interesting, the idea that he can't spawn without
it is hard to confirm.
To me, in my head, I thought Rey was the one that spawned it, so that makes sense. But
no, it's just a natural phenomenon. It's adapted.
Yeah.
Like his lore is he uses the storm to hunt. Like he gets struck by lightning and then channels it into his railgun. I mean, we know it is confirmed that the weather cycles affect the materials, the endemic life, the small monsters that you're going to be. So it does make sense that large monsters are going to appear or disappear depending on the weather too.
Did you get to see his nest?
Not myself. During my gameplay, but in other videos, looks amazing.
I only saw it on the stream. Yeah,
I really hope loads of monsters get their own little custom nest that changes the fight.
It's a big topic in terms of like, okay, nests now enhance the monster's abilities. It's exciting to see how that's going to work.
But to come back to the speedrun topic, one more thing I want to say, I think this whole speedrun topic in general will change so much due to the nature of how quests work, right? Where we've seen sometimes, I mean, I don't know, can you accept quests manually all the time? Like, where are you going to spawn?
Yeah, so I've seen the quest select UI. You go to either the home base or a pop-up camp, and then the quest UI is essentially just these are all the monsters on the map, and then these are all the quests.
And their star level as well.
Them, and then the rewards and the stars. So yeah, because there isn't that separation of hub and quest, you can't just repeatedly take the same quest for the same monster until you get what you want for the speedrun. It is going to have to be more reactive. So it might actually be kind of awkward thinking about it to get what you want to happen.
If a speedrunner cannot repeat the situation as many times as they need to practice and also wait for the right RNG to occur, that's going to be really bad. And also, can you now charge up your files and everything beforehand?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I imagine there must be a system in place. Let's say you're in one region, you want to go somewhere else, start a quest over there. Maybe it teleports you over. You're always put in the same place. maybe there's some things you could do with that. But
Also, technically, right, your speedrun time is the amount of time the quest took from quest start till the monster dies, right? That's the time. But in Wilds, if you're on a quest for a different monster and you beat up a separate unrelated monster, it keeps the damage that you've done to it. So you could technically put a random monster on the map to like 5% health. Yeah, 1 health. Then accept the quest for it. Go attack it. It'll do quest start. 3 seconds will pass. You'll kill it, and you'll get a time of 3 seconds.
I think people will be able to
Obviously,
tell.
yes. Everyone's going to be like, that doesn't count. But technically speaking,
that is possible.
You could kill monsters in literal
seconds. You could
seconds.
just weaken it a tiny bit. And
yeah, actually, no one would know if you injured it without breaking any parts.
That's also concerning.
Yeah.
So you just poison it.
We're being helpful.
Yeah, just
like
subtly
giving you a sense
poison
of
it
dread.
up on the side. Whoops.
That's such a good question. But like, luckily for us on the channel, we don't really pay attention much to getting the fastest time. I don't know if you guys have seen
it's
that.
the style, which I think is a much better way of doing it anyway, because it just looks so cool. That's
cooler
like the point.
clips.
It's just really
for sure.
I mean, for speedrunners, of course, it matters always. They want to be the fastest on the leaderboards and whatnot. But if you really pay close attention to what the general audience on YouTube wants, they don't really care if you
They don't care
kill
about
a
the time
thing
at the end.
in 3:17 or 2:57. You know, it's no difference to them at all. Whereas to a speedrunner, it's like a huge, like 20 seconds difference. Oh my goodness, you know. So for us, we'll see. So we'll still be able to get our situation where we can show off amazing
you'll
looking
still
gameplay.
get like incredibly cool clips. Honestly, more than ever probably with how much is actually going on in Wilds. But I do think it's interesting to think about. So to get some predictions from you that I want to get from everyone. First and foremost, as much as I love that it's happened, I still think it's weird that congalala is like the first proper returning monster that we've had confirmed. Obviously Rathalos, everyone knows Rathalos, but getting congalala is so interesting as a monster, as it feels very random to show us. But what returning monster do you think is definitely going to be in Wilds if you had to commit?
So, I mean, when we look at already what we have, right, to understand the situation with congalala, I guess, makes sense in a way, because we haven't seen congalala in 5th gen at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Capcom, usually, if you look back in the past, they have always liked to sometimes give monsters a break in a third generation, and then out of nowhere, they're coming back. It's a great way to give people, like, make people more excited about it if they get a break from a monster. If you have monsters around every single game, maybe it starts to become more annoying than you're actually being happy about the monster being in the game. So that's something we can maybe think about. So first of all, which monsters from 4th generation specifically could they bring back now? Gore magala, maybe, something like that. Of course, we've seen Leviathans, so that's possible now.
Do you think Legiacris is going to happen? People are going to be sad again.
Could work, especially since underwater gameplay combat might not be back, but at least the feature to swim freely underwater is back. So maybe that is important to be able to feature more like aquatic monsters in a way.
Nest,
Because if we have something like a flood and forest and these huge maps, naturally they're going to have to implement water to some degree more than they've done in like World and with the Coral Highlands. So I think Legiacris is probably it's a very high chance that we'll see that, maybe hopefully a Knactor, that kind of stuff. And then I think, I don't know. I really don't know. What are your predictions? Which monsters do you think are likely to return?
This one I don't think is likely, but I do think it should happen. I feel like Gammoth needs another go. Like all the other Fated 4 got to be in the 5th gen.
For sure. And
now that we're getting such large maps, it feels like we can have these bigger monsters. Like the only brute wyvern in the whole series that hasn't been in the 5th gen is Duramboros. And I have to bring this up for Con.
Oh, really?
Because it's his favorite monster, and it's the only brute wyvern that wasn't in the 5th gen, Duramboros. So if it's gonna happen, surely in Wilds where you've got
now.
huge maps where it can do its helicopter and it won't look ridiculous.
Oh, it will.
Yeah, I guess it'll always look ridiculous. Yeah,
It's stupid.
that's what I kind of want to happen. As much as I love, obviously, Brachydios, I don't think it will happen. I don't think it needs to. I kind of want a base game where we don't have Tigrex, we don't have Nagakuga, we don't have Brachy,
sure.
we don't have all of those ones. I'd even be okay if Rathian wasn't in it. I mean, definitely Rathian's going to be in it, but, you know, that kind of thing. But in
so
terms
based
of,
on history, Diablos is going to be in there.
yeah, Diablos. But I
every
want
single gen.
Monoblos. Give us Monoblos over Diablos, bit of
Yeah.
variety. But yeah, if I had to make a prediction, I think you were on the money. I think Agnactor is probably the safest, but also exciting monster to come back. Especially if we do get a new sort of volcanic locale, which I feel like is likely.
Yeah. Yeah, and then look at Balahara, and I mean, it reminded me a lot.
Yeah,
about
me too.
Agnactor
Like
and-
the spinning out the ceiling in its introduction cutscene, the Balahara comes from the roof and then comes out and lands in the cave in one of the in trailers. That's just Agnactor. That's literally what he does. So
And imagine if now, because of environments can now change, right?
Yeah,
So
like,
imagine
yes.
the lava and stuff.
Yeah, that
like
would be
also like the
awesome.
sand.
yeah, and if he
changing.
makes the
Bringing you down.
burrows, the lava starts pouring in and creates a hazard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
That's cool.
One thing I want to say about Duramboros, because you mentioned it, if Duramboros actually returns, we need to see this new insect glaive move where you're spinning on top of the spinning Duramboros.
Oh my god, that'd be so good. Get extra lift. It's actually a secret combo.
Double.
Yeah. Move to the next map.
Not an important topic, but I do wonder if multiple people can do that move on a monster at the same time.
Yeah, that
be
would
funny.
be. Okay, you need to, if that's possible, do a 4 insect glaive
Of
for
course.
spinning. Speed.
Guys, we're
Spin
looking for
run.
insect glaive main speedrunner. Applications open, hit me up. No, like TJ, we're notoriously unexperienced with IG. We have had to do one IG speedrun for our sub 2 project where we killed every monster under 2 minutes together with some other speedrunners, and we had to do one IG run for this video as well, and it was really rough for us to do that.
That's fair enough.
But, yeah.
All right. How many new monsters do you think we're going to get in total?
Oh my god, so probably maybe a little bit more like World, I would assume. I mean, definitely more than World, because World was
Yeah, I think so.
so new for Capcom. They must have
now
had
they've got a lot more
so much
experience.
work.
And we're already seeing this kind of variety.
Yeah, exactly. And they can now build, they can reuse a lot that they've done in Rise and World with the open
skeletons,
maps already. So maybe they now have more resources to put towards putting more monsters in the game. No, we don't have a 15th weapon type either, right? So I think it's, by the way, so super smart from Capcom not to do that, because 14 is already so much. Look at Wukong, you have like one weapon, and it's a good game. Now we have 14, and some people are still seriously asking for more weapon types. I don't get it, because if you think about this just takes more resources away from Capcom, because they have to, every new thing
iteration.
that they add, they have to make new animations for yet another weapon type. And 14 is already so much. Props to Capcom for handling this so well.
True.
I would always rather get monsters than weapon, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, of course you would. Great sword only.
Yeah, the other 13 weapons might as well not exist.
Imagine how many monsters they could add if they made a Monster Hunter game with just
Yeah,
straight
actually,
sword.
can we remove the other 13
Oh, it'd be
weapons and then add a load of
amazing.
monsters?
We'd all love that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm excited to see the reveals. And we've heard from the interview that this time around, they do not want to tease in trailers as many monsters as they have done with World, right?
We were talking about that recently. It's like the over-revealing. It's always a bit like, oh, it's great to see stuff, but we would love surprises again.
Yeah, and obviously we have to look at everything, so it'd be nice to have stuff that we can't
Any
see
for
that's
us.
not revealed. And it's a surprise when we bump into them. Because that happened with World Basil, right? He didn't get revealed. So everybody's first Basil out of nowhere.
God.
I loved that. It was such a good moment.
Yeah.
God.
It was so unexpected. I was like, what?
The first time you hear the dun
creatures
dun
That sound, the music.
Yeah. And I got destroyed by the bombs immediately, because I have not seen this moment was it's my
memorable.
most favorite moment in all of playing through World ever.
Yeah.
Agreed,
Genuinely.
yeah.
Like, I remember it exactly. in the Wildspire Waste on a first high-ranked Ceratonoth. When it goes to sleep, there's a little rock pillar next to it that you can climb up and jump off for an aerial attack. I first got basiled as I jumped off that pillar, and it collided with me in midair, carted me, and I didn't really get to see it. I just saw like scales in my camera, and then got taken back to camp, and I was like, "Excuse me."
Yeah, funny for me it was Ancient Forest, so it's so cool. It's for different experiences for different players.
Yeah, it really is.
Nice.
All right, yeah, that's
cool.
I think that. Thank you very much for coming out to chat.
Yeah, I really appreciate the time.
Good.
Thank you guys. Great questions, and it was fun chatting with you guys.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, I assume, as I said at the start, most of you know who Darkside is, but if you don't, they do fantastically stylish speedruns, amongst other things, and you can find a link to them down below. But beyond that, yeah, hopefully it won't be quite as long until we next get together this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like everyone's getting hyped and excited again. There's going to be loads of different opportunities for us to make some videos together. Yeah. People will actually watch them now. So
cool.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
it is. Yeah, I think Monster Hunter is in a really good place. Like the community is just so buzzing.
On a high.
It really feels special. Like it's not felt like this since World, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
But yeah, once again, thank you very much for being here. It's been a lovely chat, and we will see all of you guys watching us right now, staring at us. We can't see you, and you can see us, which is a bit creepy when you think about it. So just think about that. And we will see you very soon. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.